Hello, this is our presentation on sleep duration versus academic performance. This is presented by myself, Marco Salazar, and Leo Salcedo. So, our problem statement, this project investigates whether the average amount of sleep students get during the school week affects their academic performance, specifically talking about GPA standardized test scores. So, our two hypotheses. Hypothesis number one is students who sleep more than 6 hours per night have higher GPAs. And our second hypothesis is students who sleep more than 6 hours will perform better on tests. So we're first going to talk about the overall importance of sleep and how that has impact versus on academic performance. So we selected this topic because as students ourselves, it is essential that we understand the relationship and correlation between the sleep we get and our academic performance. Students often forget about the importance of sleep in all aspects of life, especially in academics. So it is important that we do this research to get a better understanding. Using our analysis, other students can also recognize the correlation between the two and apply our findings in their own lives. And we just want to talk about and raise awareness about this important topic that we over analyze, and we don't really understand how sleep has such a big impact on our performance. And then we're talking about our data collection. Data was collected using a student survey distributed to STEM majors, STEM majors only across UTA campus. So we had a total of 60 respondents with key variables being sleep hours. We're only going to talk about the weeknight. We don't really uh, focus on the weekend because we know that a lot of students take this time to just sleep a lot. Uh, we're also going to be talking about GPA and midterm averages, of course. And also we're going to put in to know classification, job status, study hours, and also major. So our group divisions, participants were divided into two groups. Group number one, students who sleep less than 6 hours a night, and group number two, students who sleep 6 or more hours per night. Each group contained at least 30 students for statistical comparison. So 30 and 30 was 60. Our analysis approach, we used the t-test to compare the mean GPA between sleep groups with alpha is 5% and confidence level being a 95%. Descriptive statistics include mean, median, standard deviation for key variables. We're also going to know like 25th percentile, 75% percentile for our data. And my hypothesis test number one, mu1 is the mean GPA averages of students who get more than six hours of sleep. And mu2 is the mean GPA averages of students who get less than 6 hours of sleep. Our null hypothesis, mu1 is less than or equal to mu2, which means that sleep has no effect on academic performance. And our H1 is the mu1 is greater than mu2, which means that sleep improves GPA scores. So with this table below, we're going to see that GPA averages mu1 with students who get more than 6 hours of sleep overall has a higher mean median than the GPA averages mu2, which is students who get less than 6 hours of sleep. And our standard deviation is lower than the mu2. And overall, our GPA scores are way above than the students who get less than 6 hours of sleep. So I did a box whisker plot to overall distribute our data, and as you can see, we there's a bigger scores, GPA scores when we're talking about more than 6 hours of sleep, more or less than 6 hours of sleep. And students who get like less overall has like a bigger variance, a bigger variety. And yeah, our minimum is less and maximum is the same, which is a 4.0. Our hypothesis one result based on a box whisker plot in a group that gets less than 6 hours has a mean GPA then or 3.53. Our group number two has a mean GPA of 3.82, and the standard deviation is 0.19 to 0.34. Our p-value from the t-test is 0.00062. We use the formula to sample t-test, which is the unknown popular variance one. Interpretation of all this is since p-value is less than 5%, we reject the null hypothesis, which means that students who sleep more than 6 hours per night have statistically higher GPA, and this hypothesis number one is supported by the data. So next we're going to talk about hypothesis two with Leah.
I did hypothesis test 2, which was that sleep does improve midterm test scores. So for our null hypothesis, we have that mu1 is less than or equal to mu2, mu1 being the mean midterm averages of students who get more than 6 hours of sleep, and mu2 being the mean midterm averages of students who get less than 6 hours of sleep. And our null hypothesis would prove that sleep has no effect on academic performance. However, for my hypothesis, I have that mu1 is greater than mu2, and this would prove that sleep does improve midterm test scores. So after collecting our data and performing the t-test, I found that the mean midterm averages for students who get more than 6 hours of sleep was 84.49. The median was 84. The standard deviation in the data was 7.25. And then for students who get less than 6 hours of sleep, the mean was 68.18, the median was 67.5, and the standard deviation was 5.33. And also, after completing the t-test, we found that our p-value was significantly lower than our confidence level of 0.05, and it had a value of 5.97 times 10 to the negative 17, so very low, which is good. Based off our data, I also made a scatter plot comparing this amount of sleep to the midterm averages. And as you can see, as the sleep hours increase, the midterm averages also increase, hence the positive slope, which shows that there is a positive relationship between more sleep and better grades. Overall, after completing my test and collecting my data, based on the t-test results, the p-value of our data was significantly less than 0.05, so we can reject the null hypothesis. And this proves our hypothesis to be correct, which is that students who sleep more than 6 hours perform better on their midterms than those who don't. Also, based on the scatter plot I made from the 30 data points, a positive slope in the graph suggests that there is a correlation between getting more sleep and better test scores, which also goes to prove our hypothesis. Overall, the conclusion, after completing the test for hypothesis 1 and hypothesis 2, our data supports that students who slept more than 6 hours showed a higher GPA average by 0.3 points, and those who slept more also had a higher mean in their midterm scores by about 16 points. So overall, both hypotheses were correct, proving that getting more sleep does have a positive impact on students' academic performance. And as students, we can use this in our daily lives to better ourselves by getting more sleep, hence, after seeing the results, improving our academic performance. So hopefully we can practice this in our own lives. Thank you.